All aboard! Well, wet me whistle and call me Wendy. And welcome to Shaky Hands Shed. And in this edition, I'll be taking a very, very old triang R153 saddle tank, which I think it started its life as a clockwork model. And they introduced an electric motor to it, so the body's pretty high up, or it was. Whoever had this model has cut it down a bit, so it's a bit lower. Anyway, here we go, off with the body. And those triang flanges are massive, so that's an issue that'll be getting addressed, because I want it to run on modern rails. I started off with perfectly good method, and I will be using on another triang loco I really want to use on modern rails. So anyway, here we are, all the stripping down. I took all the wheels off because they had to be coming off for what I was going to be doing, apart from the centre ones. Anyway, here we are, I'm turning down the flanges. I put the wheels in a chuck, in my drill chuck. Drills in the vise, and I've turned them down with a file and sanded them with wet and dry. And anyway, a bit of black gloss to finish off. And here we are. I'm starting taking wires off the contacts plate. I had to do a little bit of remedial repairs on that later. I may well get a piece of PCB or whatever it is, blank, ready to go, but so I can cut it out myself. And there we go, a bit of soldering, putting the wire on. I ended up putting new wire on later anyway. And there we go, I did actually break that myself, although it wasn't the best in first place anyway. And here what I'm doing, I'm cutting off the couplings, because I'm going to be putting newer couplings on. And I've cut them off at the height of the old couplings, because it should make it the height of the newer couplings that are going to be going on. Going off the next one, but here we go, just checking the motor, and it's quite a good motor, everything runs. Once assembled again, and I screwed up, it'd have been fine, it'd have been brilliant, but when I did my couplings I noted after, I'd nicked a V out of one of the flanges. With a file I accidentally struck it while filing the couplings, so I decided they were coming off, and I've replaced them with newer Hornby equivalents from an 060 Ginty. And there we are, as you can tell by the plastic cog. They've been replaced by modern equivalent Ginty wheels, which fit exact. They're an exact match, so if you ever fancy doing an old triang, so it runs on modern rails, the more modern wheels will fit off old Ginties, and there's plenty of them around. There was a problem, the actual plastic gear wheel had slackened off and it wouldn't drive, so I've super glued it in. Just a dab of super glue so it went in with capillary action and held it. And And here I'm making a plastic hard bit for the contact board underneath for the wheel contacts. There we go, I'll super glued it to it, and when it goes on it means it's insulated. There's none of the copper touching the actual frame. Well, technically that's not true, there were the wire there that could have done, but I actually soldered some to that. Here I am, I was cleaning the commutator with fiberglass pencil, and there I am dabbing oil on. And taking that off again because I lost the wire. Dabbing oil on again on all the axles. Reassembling the motor. And here we are ready for a motor test. It weren't kicking up at first. There we are, started kicking up there. Just had to get the brushes in the right position, warm down a bit so it worked better. As you see here, there we go. Job done, and running beautiful with all its new running gear. Running absolutely smooth. And I just love watching the motion working on these. Looks cool. And there we go. And here I am, I've actually got a fiberglass wire brush pen set. And here I am, I'm soldering on the wire onto the wheel contacts. We've soldered it up. And these are observing through my helping hands magnifier. Couple of shots doing that. And here we are, just putting the wire onto the motor, soldering it on, then use a pair of scissors to clip it down. And here we go in, checking the motor again. And there we go, running smooth, smooth.
Beautiful.
And putting the body back on. And now for making it look a bit more authentic, I decided to do some weathering. Oh, I'm putting the couplings back on first, making sure I don't nick the wheels this time. I don't believe I did that. What a total pleb. But cutting it down, making sure it fits correct. And there we go. I've also the M2 screws and the gap. I did drill it a little bit, but the gap allows it easily done without too much drilling. And there we are, coupling set to the right height. So we go on to decaling. And I had sprayed it in a matte coat before we started, or was it, may have been satin. And just, it's a bit fiddly getting the numbers right, especially if you're a shakersy old dodderer like me. And there we go, the BR crest going on. The ferret and dartboard. And here I'm just painting out the plastic card and any bits of missing paint on the chassis. Just painting it out. And any bits that are missing, like the handrails, they're still chipped, but it made them look good anyway, so I weren't too panicked. You'll see what I mean. It looks like they weathered later on because they chipped. And here we are. I'm putting a upper surface of its brown violet, I think it's called, the Vallejo colour. It just gives it like a muddy upper surface colour. But any muddy or whatever browny grey colour will do. And here I'm using Vallejo's model colour, track colour. I think track colour really refers to tanks, but equally it's the same colour that would be on locomotives, because it's like mud and dirt mixed with rust and stuff. And anyway, here I'm using some white oil paint to demonstrate the, what is it, calcium and stuff. Like in the water. And here you can also use Q-tips, as well as ladies' makeup things like I'm demoing here. An eyeshadow sponge. They can also be used. I'm putting on some Tamiya brown there, so it looks mucky. Giving it a quick brush up. And a brush around. And here I'm adding some rust colours onto wheels and the running plates and stuff. In some ways I thought it was a bit overdone. Here I'm putting lacquer on. In some ways I think it was overdone, but if you've looked at any sort of colour photos of British Rail Steam in its final days, the mainline locos are just as bad, so a shunting loco would be positively dilapidated. And here we're putting on a lamp, and I've put it in the position that covers a few different freight locos. Covers a few types, so and here we have where we started, a very old and battered triang that would have been clockwork at one point. I think it was a clockwork one and somebody's put it onto a electric chassis. So it's a bit of a bastardised parentage, if you will. And anyway, here's where we finished up. It looks a bit more like a model. In fact, the actual model looks a bit like an Lancashire and Yorkshire Class 23, I think it is. So it actually looks like a loco. Anyway, here we go, into a tunnel. Boom. Bloody hell, somebody's put buffer stops in the tunnel. And out again. In. And out. And here we go, past the engine shed, and all that remains to say to you folks is tatty pie, and have a good Easter. Tatty pie, everyone. Tatty pie.